Okay, okay. Sorry about that. December 4th, guys. Thank you, Councillor Yanish. Seconded by Councillor Frank. Any further questions? All in favor? Carried. Thanks. Next, under original, communications, delegations, and petitions. We have two reports. We've got the CECA Reid report, which came to us from a couple of local contractors, and we have the WSP Civic Auditorium Building Condition Assessment, which is tabled from the November 23rd, 2017 meeting. So now that we have both these reports in hand, we've had the opportunity to go over them. What's the wish of council this evening? Councillor Roba?
Thank you, Your Worship. I think that after our discussions, and basically what we've been waiting for is to hear back from OH&S and insurance as per our last meeting. We still haven't heard back from insurance, but I think what we need to do is make the motion now to reopen the Civic pending we get full insurance coverage. Because at this time we do not have insurance. The OH&S issues have been rectified, but I would be happy to open the Civic again if we can get insurance, at least until April 30th, 15th, 30th in that area, pending if we have to do a in-depth structural review. So
for pending getting the insurance and as well doing the necessary structural review?
Yes.
Okay, so we've got a motion. Have we got a second?
And sorry,
Nips?
also Councillor Hoffer just reminded me that we should also look at what the fire chief said. There was a few issues, deficiencies on his last report. Those should be added, the fire extinguishers. Okay, yeah, we'll have to take care of any deficiencies in the fire chief's report. Yeah. Okay. And Councillor Nibbs, you've seconded that. Okay, discussion? All in favor? Carried. Okay, next, from Southeast Transportation Planning Committee, minutes. We've got November 28 minutes. Could we have a motion to accept those, please, as presented? Councillor Nibbs, seconded by Councillor Moore. Councillor Moore, any questions or comments? Anything you'd like to add?
Thank you, Your Worship. Just that we've had a special meeting last week to do with upgrading 47 North and 47 South. We've moved it to the #1 priority, and it would be the most costly issue that we've been dealing with for a number of years. So we want the funds to be in place for the incoming budget that will be in March. So that's what that meeting was all about, and we'll wait and see what the results are for costs. It goes out to tender, and then we will be in a position to have the government make a move on that particular highway. We've already been okayed for Highway 8 south of Redvers that we've been on the hook for a long time, and so those are two pieces of road that are in our district that we want to get looked after. So that's where it sits right now.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Moore. Any other questions? If not, all in favor? And I just wanted to read, I've got a bit of a statement here on the Civic before I forget. Just wanted to go over roughly what we're looking at moving forward. In Saskatchewan, the life expectancy of this type of building is usually limited to 50 to 75 years with exceptions. The Civic has currently been open for 60 years. To build a new structure of this type would cost 10 to 20% more than to renovate and fully upgrade the existing building. The foundation is recommended to be reviewed. Some of the glulam columns on the north and south side have settled from 1 inch to 3 inch. This is not because of foundation settlement, but rather rot decay at the concrete grade beam foundation level. This is not unusual with these types of structures due to the high humidity level of the complex. Some of the cross bracing rods, because of the decay of the columns and the sinking of the columns at the base, are in high tension mode and will have to be released. Also, some of the rods that are too loose will have to be retightened. Now, these are things that probably won't take a lot of time, a few days, but these will also have to be dealt with before we open. The glulam columns should be fine for the rest of the season with repairs. These repairs would include adding steel support at the bottom of the columns to connect to the existing grade beams, Also, epoxy resin may have to be injected into the bottom 24 inches of the columns. It's also suggested we get a detailed engineering structural inspection report. Along with this, we would have to restrict the public to a maximum of 300 spectators and confine the seating and activity to the south side of the building. We've also been waiting on and now have reviewed with OH&S as well as our workers all of the policies and the right to refuse, and they feel comfortable working in the Civic right now. Also, although these proper repairs should allow us to remain open for the remainder of the season, the mechanical and electrical are at their life end. All of this information moving forward is dependent on insurance approval, which at this point we still do not have. We hope to have that within a few days. Also, while we're going through this engineering review, the building will have to be placarded and a notice that this building is presently under structural engineering review and may be closed immediately depending on the engineer and the people that are in there fixing. Did you have a question, Councillor Nips?
Well, we can finish.
No, go ahead.
So we are okay to do all of that also, right, with Shelley's?
Yeah, we're looking
gonna be
at
moving
putting
ahead.
out an RFP and getting this in-depth structural reports and basically getting any of the major deficiencies fixed so that we can continue open for the rest of the season.
Do you need a motion for that as well then?
Was that not included? I think that's pretty
It did
much,
sound a little bit
Yeah,
different.
no, I think that's what my motion stated, was that we would go ahead with a
Yeah.
request for proposal.
Yeah.
Because basically, the two, because we have two firms who came forward and both said that we need an in-depth structural report, we can't just go ahead with the second one just because he was a lesser amount. That has to have a request for proposal, so that is what my motion stated, that we were gonna have that done, right? Or would you like a separate motion?
Yeah, I don't have that in the motion.
okay, so why don't we
I'll make
get-
the motion.
Sure, we'll get a separate
Yeah.
motion to cover that up.
That was supposed to, I meant to have it, sorry.
Okay, no problem.
I'd make a motion with everything you had in there to complete and like the tension on the rods and all those things as
Okay.
well to get that done.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Nibbs. Have we got a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Frank. Any further discussion? Okay, we go ahead, Councillor Moore, then Councillor Yanish.
Thank you, Worship. I'm wondering if we should have a dollar value capped on that particular,
I think we have
Piece of
quotes on that
business.
already.
Yeah, initially it's going to be around 30,000, 32,000, we're told, roughly. We'll see where the RFP comes in, but the one firm thought it would be that much to finish the structural review. And then after that, the repairs, I'm thinking could be up to 50, but I'm not sure. I'm guessing at that. But that's probably what we're looking at this point. Just wait, Councillor Yanish, then Councillor Frank.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just want to make sure that everybody's clear. That's pending insurance approval on all of this. Just so you know that we want to open the Civic again, pending insurance approval.
Okay, thank you. Then Councillor Frank, then Councillor Nibbs.
Sorry, and just further to Councillor Moore's question there, with that, I mean, at this point, we're just getting RFPs, right? So in terms of putting a cap on that, we haven't actually approved going forward with anything. We're gonna have to get RFPs on all of this work, or would we have to on the tension rods?
Well, the rods won't be a big issue. That will be a question of 2-3 days, the structural engineer said. So some of these other issues, I guess we'll find out more when we get the RFP, but I know we had agreed at one point that we would be looking at, you know, probably up to 50,000 to get this back open, so that's probably where we're at, I'm thinking.
Right, so I mean, if the RFP comes in at these numbers that we've talked about, that we're comfortable with, we're fine. If it suddenly comes in at $5 million, something absurd, you know.
Well, then we'll
nothing's
have to
perfect,
re-examine
right? So
that, yeah. Okay, thank you, Councillor Nibbs.
Yeah, I thought the numbers we were talking were 65 for that structure, then 12 for the roof and 32 for the
For the
structural.
report.
You know, so it was kind of like that 112 is kind of what I figured was the number.
Okay,
So
100, okay.
can we not just put that in our motion, like up to 112 RFPs, just so we're not tying it up in the future?
Okay, up to
Well,
112.
112, 115, whatever, right?
25?
Okay, go
Thank
ahead.
you, Your Worship. We're
Councillor
talking
Hopper.
about two separate things here. We're talking about an RFP, and the 65 was the estimate on getting the structural work done. What we're looking for is a structural report,
First of all, that's right.
and then we'll proceed with Then that
repairs.
65,000 in the structural report will likely have a more solid estimate.
Exactly.
And then we'll proceed on that, but we're talking about two separate things here.
That's correct. Yeah, the report
Right
being
now,
around
we're
30,
proceeding with the
32,000.
report.
Exactly.
Pending that, we'll proceed with
Yeah,
dealing with the
one
necessary
step
repairs.
at a time. Thank you. Yep. Councillor Nibs?
Sorry to play the devil's advocate, but when he was saying, I asked the question to the second guy, the engineer, I said, do we have to do this work in order to open? He said, yes, and the 32,000, that's what he had said in our.
Yeah, the $32,000 study has to be done first.
The other work you're
Or
referring
at
to is
least
the
start.
10,000 to tighten the rods.
Yeah, he said it had to be done.
Not 65, the
Okay,
smaller.
so that, but then can we get an okay to do the 12? As long as we get the insurance in 2 days?
Yeah, that has to be done before we open,
Yeah.
is those rods have to be
Okay,
tightened.
and then, but we had to do that other work as well, so why don't we get that all set up so we're not waiting? No?
I think we need to see what the report says.
That
And then
report's gonna
proceed
take
to-
6 months to get done, so they can be open in the meantime
Right.
without loosening those
The
off?
second engineer clearly stated that the other work could wait.
Okay.
The initial,
But not
the
the beam,
immediate
so-
work was tightening the rods that are supporting the,
And-
Loosening.
Well, tightening some and loosening
Yeah,
others.
but so I'm saying, can we get that put in then, so that's done? The loosening of the
yeah,
rods?
that has to be done
And,
before we open.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
before
then
we
he
open,
said
let's get it done.
the building could open while he does his review.
Perfect.
As I said, it'll be placarded
Okay.
while he does that it's under review and may be closed at a moment's notice, but that's while he does his review. Okay, so are we clear as mud on that, City Clerk?
Trev, you may need to amend your
Okay.
Just for clarity.
How would you like me to amend that motion? I'll do exactly what the mayor wants, except none of it.
You're gonna do structural analysis up to between 30 and 50,000, so up to 50,000.
Good.
And then the rest of the cost over that is 65,000
Yeah.
for the,
No.
no.
Leaving the 65, but adding the 12 in for the roof adjustments, because that has to be in there. Well, that's what he said, it was gonna be 2 to 3 days' work up to $12,000. Unless
To
I'm not
adjust the
remembering.
rods,
To
that's
adjust the
right.
rods, that
Yeah.
has to be done.
That's right.
So we gotta get that put in there.
And then
That's
the rest,
62.
the review can take place,
That's
Yes,
62.
It can
over
be
the next
open.
6 months.
yeah.
Yeah, it is,
Okay.
you're right, Jude.
You're right,
62 in total.
yes. 62 in total.
Okay,
And so your motion is on the floor.
Okay.
okay,
So
any
my motion.
further? Okay, we've got that all straight? Did you want to read back, just so we're
No.
clear? Okay.
Your
Hey,
worship,
Go ahead,
if I'm-
Councillor Hopper.
understanding and to try and bring clarity to this, Councillor Veroba's motion was to open it pending insurance, in a nutshell. Councillor Nib's motion is to proceed with the structural review and to do the preliminary work prior to opening of tightening or loosening
The
the
rods.
supporting rods as per the engineer's
Report.
recommendation.
That's correct.
End of story.
Everything else we do not read out.
Yeah,
At an approximate cost of $60,000.
okay, are we clear on that, City Clerk?
Better.
We're all good. Yeah, need a second to them.
Okay,
Oh, you have one.
yeah,
That's
Councillor
fine.
Frank, Councillor Frank, yep.
Behind you.
Okay,
There it is.
But we didn't know
Any-
you were behind, but yeah.
any further questions? Okay, all in favor? Carried. Okay, next, we've got from the Reagan's Cart Report for November. I guess it's not Reagan's anymore, it's GFL. Report for November 2017. Could we have a motion to accept that report as presented, please? Councillor Yanish, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Moore. Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next, from the, under Original Communications, Delegations and Petitions, we have from the Ministry of Government Relations, the proposed residential subdivision, Northwest Quarter 20 of 2nd, 8 west of the 2nd Meridian. What's the wish of council on that? Do we have a motion to accept and move forward on that?
I have a question, Your Worship.
Okay, go ahead.
And sorry, I didn't have enough time to review this, or it's kind of busy this weekend, but someone tell me where approximately this is?
City Clerk?
Or is there an RM map handy I can look it up on? That's not an RM map.
I don't think that's gonna help you that much.
So basically, it's a residential acreage of,
and it's over our 5
Okay.
acre limit.
That does help me. Yeah, no, I'm fine with that. I'll make that motion, Your Worship.
Okay, have we got a seconder? Councillor Nibs, any further questions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next, under written reports of committees, we have none this evening. Moving to executive reports from marketing and tourism, we have the signage policy for leisure services, which is an update to tidy up our policy in that area. What's the wish of council on this? Thank you. Councillor Nibs, go ahead.
It's just acceptance and approval.
Okay, thank you. Have we got a seconder? Councillor Yanish, any further questions or comments? If not, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next, from the wastewater treatment plant, we've got the chemical tenders for 2017. You see the tenders as follows. Not all of the lowest will be accepted, and there's a reason for that, because the company could not guarantee the pricing. They said the pricing was subject to change, so we simply can't accept that. Otherwise, everything is in order. So what's the wish of council on the tenders? Councillor Moore.
Thank you, Your Worship. Acceptance and approval.
Okay, thank you. Have we got a seconder? Councillor Yanish, any further questions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next, under executive reports, we've got the building permit report for November 2017. Could we have a motion, please, to accept that? Thank you. Councillor Groba. Seconder. Councillor Frank. Any further questions? If not, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Under introduction of bylaws, we have none this evening. Public hearings and reports, we have none this evening. Giving notice, we have none this evening. Motions from committee, we have none. Consideration of bylaws, bylaw 2017-1991 to establish the Economic Development Board, second and third reading. Could I have a motion, please, for second reading? Thank you, Councillor Frank, seconded by Councillor Vroba. Any questions? If not, all in favor? Thank you. Okay, I'm asking for third reading of bylaw 2017-1991 to establish an Economic Development Board and adopt for use. So could I have a motion for that, please? Thank you. Councillor Moore, seconded by Councillor Nibs. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next, under consideration of bylaws, we have bylaw 2017-1992 to establish mutual aid, second and third reading. Could I have a motion, please, for second reading of bylaw 2017-1992 to establish mutual aid? Thank you, Councillor Yanish. Seconded by Councillor Nibs. Any questions or comments? If not, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Now I'll ask for third reading and adoption for use of bylaw 2017-1992 to establish mutual aid. Councillor Hoffert, seconded by Councillor Frank. All in favor? Carried. Thank you so much. Then we'll move to inquiries. Councillor Hoffert.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. I guess under the file of there is so much to do in Estevan, I wanted to bring to your attention a great event from the weekend. The 2017 Woodlawn Regional Park Festival of Lights and Christmas in the Park was held yesterday down at Woodlawn Park, and what a resounding success it was. It was from 2 o'clock in the afternoon until well into the evening. It started off with a lot of activities for the children in Rotary Park, a skating rink that was flooded out there by our managers, Joanne and Barry Schulte. The Estevan Co-op provided a wiener roast barbecue and hot chocolate, very much approved. We had Stan Milford and his teams of horses down there giving rides to everyone interested, and then of course the sensational fireworks display. And following by the lighting of the lights, 13 of our organizations from around Estevan are participating in that. So I've just received information indicating we actually had a traffic counter out that we borrowed from the RM for the day, and over 1,200 vehicles went through the park to view the light displays yesterday. So really a tremendous success, and a lot almost, the lion's share of the credit certainly goes to the management and the team of workers at the Woodlawn Regional Park, Joanne and Barry Schulte. They just did an enormous amount of work for this. So I think it would be in order when we have people doing this kind of activity, and a lot of it is way over and above the call of duty and their job expectations, that we do give them a letter of commendation and recognition. And so I would ask this council to support that and just thank the Woodlawn Regional Park for everything they've done there.
Okay, thank you for that, Councillor Hofford. And I had the opportunity to go down and look. It was fabulous. The fireworks were second to none, and a very good job done by everyone, and I know you played a big part in that as well.
The other thing, just to mention, that it is open now for the rest of the year, and it'll be open till the end of the year. You can go down from 5 until 11 o'clock p.m. each night to take a look at the light displays, and look forward to bigger and better things next year. I also wanted to mention one more thing. We have this annual campaign where we collect gifts for those less fortunate, and especially the children of our community. And along the same lines of someone going above and beyond the call of duty, Shar Seaman has been involved in this year after year, spearheading it, and she would probably be the first to credit everyone else that's stepped up to the plate. I know the fire department played a major role this week, and the police and just the entire community, but Shar has certainly been the one to spearhead this for several years. So again, I would ask you to send a letter of appreciation and recognition to this fine hometown hero. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Hofford. Do we have a motion for those two letters, please? Thank you, Councillor Frank, seconded by Councillor Nibs. All in favour? Carried. Thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Groba.
Thank you, Your Worship. I actually have two things. The first thing is the blood clinic that will be happening here in our community tomorrow, Tuesday, December 19th. So if you're able to give blood, please go and give blood. The other thing, I was just wondering if the city manager, or maybe Your Worship, knows why we don't get fire reports anymore. We used to get monthly fire reports.
City manager, we can ask the
Yeah, I
fire
would like
chief. I know he's been very busy, Councillor Groba, with the new building and all of the upgrades they've been doing to the inside, so it may have been just an honest miss, but we'll...
Yeah, I just realized we hadn't gotten them in a few months, so I thought maybe we'd like to start receiving those again.
Okay, thank you for that. Anything else?
No, that is everything. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Groba. Councillor Yanish?
Nothing, Your Worship.
Nothing this evening? Okay, thank you. Councillor Frank?
Nothing, Your Worship. Just like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas.
Okay, thank you so much. Councillor Nibs?
Nothing other, but yes, Merry Christmas to everyone.
Thank you for that. Councillor Moore?
Thank you, Your Worship. It was brought to my attention that the flags that were flying outside Divinity Place are not in order as per the protocol for flags. And apparently the ones inside the building are in order. So the gentleman that phoned said that we maybe should go inside, have a look at how they're displayed in there, and correct what is not correct on the outside. So I told him we'd have a look at it.
Thank you, Councillor Moore, for that. We'll get that rectified. I'm sure it was an honest mistake, but there is a set standard to fly your flags.
Yeah,
So-
and there's people that know that, I guess, so.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. As long as it wasn't upside down, that's a sign of distress. Okay, City Manager? Nothing this evening. Trudy? Nothing. Judy, City Clerk? Nothing?
Nothing, Your Worship.
Okay, I too would like to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas season and all the best in the new year. And with that, could we have a motion to move into committee? Councillor Vrobas, seconded by Councillor Hoffert. All in favor? Carried. Thank you so much.